So in this video I'm going to take a look at this Kaiweets thermal imaging camera. This is the KTI-W01. This has been sent to me at no cost by Kaiweets, so thanks much for that. There'll be links down below for this item, and there's also a discount code and things like that too, so you can get a bit of a better deal on it. So make sure you follow the links down below to go to this, and if you're interested in getting one, then use my discount code. Right, let's get into it. Now I did show this in the mailbag the other day. You may have seen that already, and if you've seen that then you know what to expect. Kind of anyway. A package which I was quite surprised by, and that's got a physical user manual in it. And sure, it's got a few different languages and stuff in there, but it's actually a physical manual. So it's always nice to get a physical manual. I mean, it's not something you see very often anymore. Usually you get like a QR code, you go to an online electronic version which you then download. So it's quite nice that you have a physical manual to go with it. I mean, you could argue, you know, it's not very environmentally friendly to print, have a manual printed out. You know, think about it that way. That's true, because there's a whole bunch of stuff in here which has been printed onto which I'm never going to reference because it's other languages. There you go. Sort of that much of it is relevant to give you some idea. But anyway, nice to get a manual. I was quite surprised by that. Got the camera there, and inside here we've got, as I showed the mailbag, we've got a USB charger, and this one's not the right one for my country, but I was aware of that. They actually warned me that, hey, they didn't actually have the stock of the ones with the New Zealand chargers, and I said, that's fine, just send it anyway. And in here we've got a, I presume, to be a USB cable. There you go, USB-A to USB-C, which obviously suits this, but obviously you can choose any USB charger. This is just a 2 amp output, wasn't it? Yeah, it's 5 volt 2 amp in this case, so it only is a 2 amps capable supply, maybe even less than that, I don't know, but I'm not sure what actually uses to charge it up. Yeah, so it's not a big deal. So you've got a protective cover which folds down, which is quite obvious. You've got a visible light camera there, infrared cameras here. There's a button there to take stills. Maybe do, it might do video as well, I'm not sure. Obviously keep that area display, and the handle ones here. So obviously I didn't have the AU stock, which is what I would have wanted. I only had the EU stock at the time. Now obviously it comes in this really nice little case. Nice to have a storage case to put it in to help protect it. The other thermal camera which I have, which I'll probably do some comparisons with, doesn't have a case, which is something I actually miss on that one. Really wish it had a case. So this has got one, and it's also got this compartment in there you can tuck things into, like the, I don't know, I guess the charger and the cable. Now one more comment for Kaiweets. You've got this really nice case, and it's got a zip down the middle, which is okay, I suppose. But I was thinking, okay, I'll put the manual inside the case with the camera, right, so I keep it all together. Got the charging cable in there already. I thought I could put the manual in there with it. Problem is, because of the case design, I can't actually get the manual into the case. I can only get it half in, because I can't get this around it to put the manual in. If the zip was down one edge, wouldn't have been a problem. Just a slight design flaw there. Maybe Kaiweets, you want to change that case a little bit and move the zip to one side. Here's the actual camera, and it's got this housing around there to store it in. That's nice. And there we go. There is the actual camera. And it's a 256 by 192 resolution. Now I think this does 25 Hz frame rate as well. It's getting relatively common now, and you can see it goes up to 550 degrees C. I'm guessing that it's got 2 ranges. I'm guessing that's probably how it's done it. I'm not sure. That seems to be the common things. You have 2 ranges which you choose between, which gives you better resolution at lower temperatures if you're not using the really high temperature stuff. There's the control panel there. Basic interface. Over here we have a port for the USB charger. I think you can also hook this up to a computer, I'm not quite sure. And there's the lens cover, which protects the lenses from damage, which is something which was missing on mine. So either camera didn't actually have a lens cover with it. It doesn't have one. There's no feature for one. But someone actually got in contact with me and said, look, I've designed a cover for them, and they sent me one for free, which was really nice of them. Unfortunately I don't remember what the name was now. But that was really useful. It's always on there now, you know, to protect the lenses, because you don't want to scratch those up. Okay, well, that's enough waffle. Let's turn the thing on. How long do I have to push the button for? Let's find out. 1, 2, 3 seconds. At least until I saw the screen respond. So, see what the boot out time is like. Seems typical. Okay, let's open the cover up in the front. It actually folds over quite nicely. Right, resolution looks pretty good actually. That's not bad. I kind of need to sort of have some stuff here so you can look at it and whenever you can see the detail in my hand. That's pretty good. It actually looks like decent resolution. That's good. Put the wires down. There you go. You can see the detail in those wires quite well. You know, that's alright. I'm not quite sure what the focal length was on this. I'm sure there's some information about it. I just haven't looked it up. 19 degrees in here apparently. Well, let's have a look at the menu stuff, then we'll do some testing on it and see what it actually looks like for detail on smaller circuitry. Maybe I'll find some electronics and power it up and see if we can see what kind of level of detail, and then I'll compare it with my other camera as well and see how they compare. I'm guessing that because this is a newer camera, as you can see it is 25 Hz refresh rate, I'm guessing that this will have a better detail on it, and it's got the same specs as my other camera, but that doesn't really mean that much. It depends on the quality of the resolution as well, and how good the processing is as well, not just the physical pixel sizes. Let's go into the menu system. So image correction, okay, enter. Oh, I don't know what this does. No idea what that does. Photos, have you got photos stored in there? Enter, here we go. Photos, check, delete. Also got no photos in there, hopefully. There shouldn't be, I haven't used it yet. Videos as well, so you can record video. Okay. Colour palette. So you can customise the look of it from what you prefer. Now what would be nice if it actually changed live on screen so you could see the differences between each palette. Rather than just a general indication of what the palettes consist of, I'd rather actually see on screen what they're really changing to. Iron does tend to be the one I normally use on other cameras, so yeah, that's probably the best choice for me anyway. Emissivity, matte is 0.95, but you can change it to semi-matte, interesting, semi-glossy, glossy, and customised. So you can choose any emissivity you want. The emissivity is an important factor to consider when you're measuring materials, because you have to make sure the setting you have on here matches the materials in order to get an accurate reading. Anything that's reflective can be problematic. Other settings, let's go in there. We've got auto shut down after 5 minutes. Yeah, that seems fine. Brightness adjustment, also you change the screen brightness. Oh yeah, just 3 settings. Well, that seems adequate. I mean, medium seems fine anyway. So that you come up on camera as well, just fine, which is nice. Language options, it's already in the correct one, so it's nice. Units in degrees C, also you can choose C in Fahrenheit. Temperature ranges, here we go. So low temperature is up to 120 degrees C, high temperature is 120 to 550 C. So that's what I was saying before about there's probably 2 ranges on it. Time format, 24 hour, yep, that'll do. Setting the time, what is the time right now? If it is 25th, it is not 10 o'clock in the morning though. Change this, 24 hour times, yes it is. So that's 1400 back, right, and do that. Good enough. The time is set. Spot options. Spot is currently on. It gives you that center spot so you can sort of look at a particular point on the screen rather than just a general view, and I actually quite like that. And version information, version 1.41. Anything else? No, that's it. Okay, so settings are adequate. There we go. So there's visible light, infrared, and it does blending as well, but as you can see the blending is quite a long way out, because obviously it's based on a certain distance. So let's find out what that distance actually is. You can see what my hand is there. I mean, even that is still not aligned. Now, can we do alignment? Maybe that's what that image option thing there is, image correction. Maybe that's what that's for. So I can get this to align. Oh yeah, they are getting closer. You see that? They are getting better and better. So that is getting better. That's good. Let's bring this back in play so you can see a bit more detail. Obviously, it depends on what your focal distance is going to be, right? You can see that changing above and below. So if I do my hand like this, maybe I'll just get this. Can you see that? You've got the visible light underneath the infrared, and as I move further away, then they line up, and as I go further away, it goes the other way. Obviously that's because of the crossover of the visible light detector versus the infrared detector, because they're a distance away from each other. Alright, so that creates that parallax effect, I suppose. You need to kind of decide what distance you want those to overlap at. So the fact it's adjustable is quite nice. Doing electronics, we're going to be quite close to it, so I think I'm going to set this quite close. So I'd say probably 20 centimetres this way. Let's try and get those lined up 20 centimetres away. That is as far as it's going to go. So this is like the minimum I can do to get alignment, say about there somewhere. You can see it's even the scaling's slightly different. See, one's slightly bigger than the other. But it probably is about 25 centimetres, so not too bad. At least it's doable. So visible light completely, and the blending. So that's really handy. But when you've got a camera which is relatively decent resolution like this, then that is probably a bit less important anyway. Well, for the photos and video options, if you just squeeze the trigger, it'll ask you if you want to store a photo. Right, so in this case it's going to say no. And if you hold it, it'll ask you if you want to start recording. So the same button is used for both functions, which is nice. That's simple user interface. Because there's no SD card that I can see. Must be internal storage on there. Must be an internal SD card. Then you expect the USB port here to get it out. Plug it in, it probably appears as a drive on the computer. I should try that. Okay, well let's get the other camera out and we'll do a comparison. And I'll try and find something with some small detail on it to check for what I can see. Like, for obviously we're looking at electronic stuff, so you want to see electronic componentry and see what detail it can see and what level of componentry you can identify, which is quite important. So for comparison, here's my Uni-T. What is it? It's a UTi260B, and side by side comparison, this is what we can see. Sorry, the lighting's reflecting a bit on there. And if I try and look at the same details, you can see they're a little bit different. Both try and look at the same things. This one's auto scaling the display, obviously, because of the brightness. Alright, and this one's jumping a lot more with the auto calibrations. Fortunately, reflections are being annoying. So let's power up this circuit here. I've got this Retro Chip Tester Pro here. I'm going to power this up so we've got something to look at, and then we'll go from there. So what I might do is actually get both of these recording at the same time, maybe overload a video. Alright, so right now, would I shut down? No, don't. No, don't. How do I cancel that? Oh. It shut down even though I didn't want it to. Turn back on. Okay, so in here you can see the voltage regulators there, and some resistors in front of them which are getting warm. It's about 44 degrees, and you can sort of give an idea of detail on what you get on the Uni-T one. Alright, it gives you a small idea. The processor under there, 28 degrees. Now let's look at the Kaiweets one. Try and look at the same thing at the same time, if we can. There you go, side by side. Both got the same settings. So the Uni-T one's shown hotspots sooner, but the Kaiweets looks a bit cleaner, like it's got slightly sharper imaging from what I can see. Alright, so what actually, yeah, I don't know if I can do an overlay or not, but let's try and get. And unfortunately my lighting is causing problems with reflections, so you know, a bit of a comparison just there. Both kind of seeing the same stuff at least. So if I put that one onto the processor, isn't that mega just under there? That's saying it's about 30 degrees on the left one, and the right one, we'll get that one on there, if I can get it in shot. let's say about 28. Put in the same position. Could be angles. Yeah, it's a bit of a difference in temperature. They're saying day 28 on that one. On this one here, saying about 30. So this one's also auto scaling the brightness of the display for the look of it. The detail on this one's slightly better. Okay, well this one can do video. This one can only do screenshots. So screenshots it is. We'll do comparisons with those. Okay, and I'll try and overlay them. Side by side view. Yes. And yes. Okay. Alright, let's get some more detail. Let's try something smaller than this. Over here I've got a Raspberry Pi, and we'll hook up to this one. Hook up power to this. This should have some smaller detail for hotspots, hopefully. The battery on this one's going down pretty flat. I might have to charge it up. So what I might do is try and do a side by side again. Let's adjust my camera a little bit. So let's take a photo on both of these ones of the same board, same position basically. And you can see the detail difference on the Raspberry Pi there, where the right hand thermal camera is got slightly better detail there. Although the left one, you can see some different things because of the profiles a bit different with the heating. Heat profile is slightly different. And reflections on my flag, because it's got reflections which make it look a little bit different. We're too close to it for that. This likes to be about 30 centimeters away for detail, whereas this one is a bit more tolerant of being close. So if I go close with that, yeah, it does get like it, but you can actually see more with this one, which is what I wanted to see, if this one was actually going to be better suited to electronics. I do have a macro lens for this, which can help. Let me just do a comparison with a macro lens. Obviously this doesn't have one, but let me get it. So this macro lens here, it's not original, it's one of these aftermarket things you get from AliExpress. Basically it just clips over the front here. Like that, sits in there, and it gives us the ability to get closer. Now with that lens, we can see much more. Right, so with the macro lens on it, now you can see the detail on that board because of the macro lens. Right, without the macro lens, you can't do that at all, nowhere near as well. There you go, that distance there looks pretty much optimal, you can see that. And I'll take the macro lens back off, which is obviously a real fair comparison then. It's just blurry. Without a macro lens on this one works better. With a macro lens, this one's slightly better. So it depends on what you're trying to achieve. And obviously a fair comparison is not having a macro lens. Now we could also try putting a macro lens over here and see what this camera can see. That'd be worth trying, I think. Let's see if I can hold it in place and actually have a look at it. Obviously it's not optimised for this, but that is actually working. Put the macro lens over it, and then we can get much closer. And that is comparable, if not maybe slightly better than the Uni-T for the detail. Yeah. Okay. So let's compare boot up times. Now this Kaiweets does seem to be very slightly better than Uni-T. I mean, for a start, it's got the video recording option, which the Uni-T does not have. At least not that I can find. I think it can only do pictures. So this is already booted up, and the Uni-T's only just going. Still initialising. Not quite finished yet. I've got the cover closed on this one. So yeah, I do believe that. You need to look at my shelving over there even. See the LEDs? Yeah, this is just slightly sharper. The Kaiweets is looking very slightly better. There's not a lot in it. It's really close. And here's this cover which was made for me by someone who I've forgotten the name of, unfortunately. If you know who you are, say hello down in the comments. It fits on there, protects it. Whereas obviously the advantage of this, it's got an integrated one. So I just took the images off both of these cameras. So this one here, you have to plug it in using the cable because there is no SD card externally available. You have to plug it in. Now to actually get the images off, you have to turn the camera on as well. It doesn't just show up as a drive without the camera being turned on. Once it's on, it shows up as a 30GB drive. Then you can just drag the files off. Now it saves each image in a folder called IMG, which is fine. Each image is about 280k or so, obviously because of the resolution and being this low, although this high for infrared. I don't know why it's so far behind compared to normal visible cameras, but anyway, maybe it's some kind of restriction like the old 9Hz refresh rate was a restriction artificially applied to devices. It shows up, each one's 280k and you've got 30 gig, so that's a lot of photos. Now this one here, which I'm currently charging, this obviously got the advantage of the fact it's got an SD card. We need to take the SD card out. The file size is basically the same. Difference is that this also takes 2 images. This only does 1 image, although maybe it's because I only had 1 camera active, I'm not sure, maybe. I might have to try that again. This one does 2 images, it does 1 for the visible light camera and 1 for the infrared camera. So each time we take a picture, it takes 2 files. So you can actually see the visible light and the infrared light at the same time in different images. So that's quite nice. So you can actually see what you're looking at. I don't know if this will do the same thing. I should try that, shouldn't I? Just turn it back on and I'll take a picture with the scaling set. Maybe then it'll save us 2 images. So I would do a blended image and then I'll see if that does anything differently. I didn't try the video, I should do the video as well. So let's just do a bit of mixture of visible light as well. Alright, and we'll do a picture of that. Store photo, yes. And then I'll do some video. Start video recording, yes. And we'll do some video, just recording some stuff around the place. We've got these lights up here. There's equipment maybe. I don't know if we've got any sound on the video, I don't know. But we'll see what we get. And I'll skip it over to more infrared. So this is pure infrared, same things again. Can we see the infrared LEDs? Can we see the individual LEDs? I'm not sure. You think? Well, I can see the resistors in between them. They're getting hot. Anyway, okay. How do I stop recording? In recording, yes. Okay, let's go and see what comes up on the camera, on the computer. So I've hooked up the camera to my computer here, and as expected it shows up as a drive, but only when it's powered on. So you have to power on the camera first and then the drive will show up. And sure enough, it did show up as a 30GB drive. So let me see here. Put it there, there you go, 30.05GB. So that's what it showed up as. So it's obviously 32GB internal memory. And in here we've got this program called IR Image Tools EXE, so it's obviously for PC only. You've got some system volume information here. W settings, interesting. Spotlight would be it's a bloody Mac thing. Right, Spotlight's a Mac storage thing. And here's the images. So if I do a quick view on this, there's the image. There, and there, that's 3 I took before. That's with the macro lens on it. Or over it, I should say, not on it. It's not perfect because the lens is too far away. It gives an idea. And I'll probably put these in the full video and actually overlay them properly. And compare them to the other device, which is just a macro SD card. Right, but the main thing I was doing here is getting this connected up so I can get the photos back off it. And well, they're there, okay. And it's like it comes with the software installed on the drive, so you can use that to install that on your computer. I run a Mac, so it's no use to me. But so there we go. That's the video recorded just now. And obviously low resolution. Can I make this bigger to make it easier to see on screen? That's just your blended image, as you can see with the offset there. There is no sound on it. And that's where I was putting it back to fully infrared. So that's not bad at all. Let's look at the images, see if it did double images for the blended image or not? No, it didn't. It just merged into one. So the blended image just ends up being a blended image. It doesn't do two files like the Uni-T does. Okay. So I was just having a little look at the manual, you know, properly actually looking at it for a change. Don't normally read manuals. And this image caught my eye. It's like battery cover. This one does not have a replaceable battery, right? This is installed in there. To get the battery out to change it, it's a bit of a nightmare. That's like what you get is what you get until it dies and you've got to try and dismantle it. This has got a battery cover. It looks like this piece here comes off somehow. I'm not quite sure exactly how. I mean, it slid down a bit. There we go, a bit more. That's a really tight cover. The battery sits in there. And it's a plug-in battery, it plugs in. Okay, so it's got a connector on it. 3,500 milliamp hours, 3.7 volt, so yeah, lithium battery. But it's got a connector on it, so if you need to replace the battery when it gets old, which will happen eventually, you know, nothing lasts forever, then you've actually got the means to do that. That's really good. You shouldn't really need to do that, which is why, you know, it's not obvious to get into it. They could have had a battery holder in there, could have just swapped out with another cell, just plugged another cell in. A battery holder I think would have been nicer. That would have been a good addition instead of having the wire. Because then if you're using this thing a lot, if your battery goes flat, you know, because you're using it for hours and hours on end, you know, as an industrial use thing maybe, you could then just pop it out, pop a new battery in, carry on. Right now you relies on getting these probably proprietary batteries which have got those cables on them. Oh, there we go, that's come right off. Oh yeah, there's a little protection board on the end of that. There's into the cell. There's a little protection board on the end. So it's got a protected cell as well, which is nice. They put battery terminals on there. They could have made that a replaceable battery. You just popped it out, popped another battery in, carried on working. Bit of a missed opportunity there. That could have been improved upon. But at least this is still an upgrade over the other one where you can't replace the battery at all. This is definitely an improvement. And here's the page with the specs in it. So I thought I'd better show you these in case you care about these. Pixel size 12 micrometers. Response band 8 to 14 micrometers. Net D less than or equal to 50 millikelvin. Focal length 3.2 millimeters. Fixed focus. So visible light resolution 640 by 480, which is why it's got different scaling depending on distance. And working time is 6 to 8 hours apparently off that cell. So it reckons. This is a useful page. Examples of emissivity for various materials. These are the kind of numbers you'll need to be using for different kinds of checks. So if you're checking things which are made out of plastic, you might want to drop it down a bit. People are 0.98. So that's pretty cool. I'm really happy with this. It does more than my Uni-T can do. Apart from the macro lens thing, I have to see if I can get a macro lens for this. It may be a possibility to do that. Someone must have made a macro lens for it, but it doesn't really need it that much. Not as badly as the Uni-T did. I mean, the Uni-T needed it for getting up really close, whereas this was doing better. Obviously, when you're doing electronics work though, you want to try and get it right down to component level stuff, which is SMD capacitors, you know, 0603 capacitors and stuff like that, or smaller potentially. And so having a really high resolution at really close distance is a great benefit. So if I can get this to have a macro lens as well, imagine how good it could be then. So yeah, thanks a lot Kaiweets for sending this to me at no cost. That was brilliant. Really appreciate the support. If you are interested in one of these things, check the links out down below. There's a voucher code down below. Use that voucher code on the Kaiweets website and you'll get a discount. And if you go to the website and do stuff there and using my links, it's trackable, so it means they know that you've come from my video, which helps me to get support from companies such as Kaiweets in the future. So subscribe link over there if not already subscribed. Other links down here, other videos you can watch, you know, playlists for repairs and what have you, other reviews, and a Patreon support link over there if you want to help support the channel, become a member, whatever it may be. There's also members down there, and also a thanks button too. If you want to use the thanks button, you could use that too. All that sort of thing helps to support the channel and helps me to produce more content for you. Catch you later.